kicked off on the Sunday. Both Rob Belgiani and myself were keynote speakers in the seminar titled The Independent Agency Showcase. This was a second iteration from our presentation of last year, where we did the whole case study of Telstra Bigpond and specifically the journey in turning the brand into what is today one of Australia's favourite brands, with the famous Rabbits campaign. We, on this particular occasion, the Barbarian Group, which is a leading US group, and IQ Marketing, which is the largest independent agency in Russia and the only agency in Russia to ever be awarded Gold Lions. And they basically took us through what it means to be an independent agency and the quality and calibre of the thinking, the creativity and the work that really has set a testament to the advantage of being part of an independent versus a large network. The rest of Sunday was 4 key sessions. I think the highlight for me was a seminar called Go Viral, and this was really focusing on a concept called eucracy, and the idea there was that the consumer is at the centre of communications moving forward. But specifically they talked about this idea that in today's modern world, I guess the change is in the past. If there'd been an issue with the brand or a communication that wasn't totally ethical, then you could effectively get away with it. And what they're talking about in today's world with the YouTubes and the MySpace and viral, that literally any brand mishap can literally be alerted to the world within 24 hours. So I guess the big message there is that as a brand, there are larger expectations from the consumer in terms of what you stand for and how you interact. Monday was a pretty extensive day, 10 key sessions. A couple of the highlights for me started off in the morning with a program from Cello Media around interactive television advertising, and I guess this is really a new progressing media, and specifically they talked about the crossover between digital TV, interactive TV and the role for broadband. I think some of the stats they presented were really encouraging in terms of the leading brands in the world and what they're doing in interactive television advertising, and specifically some of the statistics in terms of consumer engagement, the percentage of people that are actually interacting and importantly buying. Other activities we spent our day on focused around mobile advertising, so particularly with the work that I'm doing with Bigpond and the new NextG network, it's about the mobile device, and the mobile device really being the killer app for the 21st century. They had some really interesting statistics in terms of the number of mobile devices in the world. Literally twice the number of mobile devices in the world now than credit cards, and 3 times the devices, just cut me out there.
Yep. Of other devices.
Twice credit cards, and 3 times the devices for television sets. So, I mean, it was really, really mind-blowing. Then they gave us some specific stats, just what's happening in China and India on a monthly basis. 6 million new devices per month in China and 7 million in India.
Awesome.
And I guess the key there was really looking at the new opportunities for advertising with the mobile device and also the revenue model. So the idea that it will effectively follow a free TV model, which is basically the user will either pay for the content, or if they're prepared to experience advertising messages, then there will be program funded content through the mobile device. Some of the additional programs, there was a really interesting program from SAWA, which is the Screen Advertising World Association. I was really blown away by the number of case studies showcasing gaming. Gaming really is completely going off, and again a major implication for Bigpond being that we have the largest game site in Australia. And there was a really interesting case study by a group out of South Africa in terms of interactive gaming in large cinema format. Some very interesting ideas there. One of my favourites from last year was the MediaCom Vienna ambient media friend or foe. This is from the woman who is renowned for Cows in Jackets, and she'd basically done this global worldwide study on the role of ambient media, and again looking at new approaches to engage the consumer more than just the traditional advertising focus. Finally, there were a number of sessions around media and media planning, channel planning. I think the major highlight there was a case study presented through Zenith Optimedia, a study they've rolled out called Touch Points, and really the focus there is looking at return on investment and making sure that from a consumer point of view, this consumer being centre, then looking at all of the various channels to market, what are the most appropriate channels at any given point in time, but based on an iterative, multi-year, multi-project, multi-campaign piece of research, which was really quite interesting. It finished the evening with the infamous Australia party, so all the Australians got down on the beach there at the Martinez, which is a wonderful opportunity just to connect with your fellow colleagues and share learnings from the day, and so lots more to occur over the next week.
As a client, not so much from a Telstra point of view, or Bigpond point of view, but if you're in the top 100 client lists in Australia, how vital is it to be here? I mean, would you think it'd be sort of, if you didn't know what was going on, you'd be missing out on a whole lot of things?
Yeah, I mean...
Or can you live without it?
Yeah.
Can a client live without CAN?
My view is no. If you really want to be world best, then you need to be surrounding yourself with world's best practice. And yes, you can read books, yes, you can watch DVDs, but really it's about experiencing and being at the forefront of the discussion, of the debate. I mean, the people who are presenting here, I mean, everybody who's on stage is CEO or worldwide planning or worldwide creative of something.
Yeah.
And you know, it's the top notch, and they're basically presenting major themes, major strategies, major trends for the industry. And I think the big opportunity here is to be centre stage, to be listening, to be hearing. The key thing is the debates afterwards. I mean, after every session there's a 15 to 20 minute break before the next session, and because I'm with a group of people from Australia, I mean, we're sitting down constantly after those sessions and discussing the implications for our business and how we can grow. Interestingly, I mentioned to Terry Savage last year after my first experience at CAN, Amanda, would you come back? And what was so critical? There was so many learnings from last year that we've already implemented in our work back in Australia, and look, the proof's in the pudding in terms of the results that we've enjoyed this year, and I put a lot of that result back to the worldwide best practice that we learned and have grown from as a result of CAN last year, and what I'm looking forward to in growing that for CAN this year.
And you get closer to the creative process, of course.
Very much so.
You know?
I think the other really great thing is that you get to see all of the creatives. So they have all of these displays in the Palais, whether it's print, cyber, radio, TV, integrated. And so because we know a number of the judges too that are over here, they're actually sharing, obviously, off the record and after the winners have been announced, but the process that they've gone through, and I guess what the criteria for effective creative actually is. And you know, I think that that's an invaluable process. The other thing that we do is when we go back to Australia, we put together what's called a Best of CAN Day. So I have all of my team, all of my agency partners, and we basically do a synopsis of the key highlights from CAN, and further to that we invite a number of key delegates from Australia who are in CAN either as judges, speakers, who can actually share some of their learnings and implications for their business as well. So we make sure that it's not just a week in CAN for the people that are here, but the big key thing that I believe you need to do is take the learnings, but then you've got to work out a way to get the rest of your 120 plus team on the same page, because you've only got a year to get, you know, the best practice into play before you can start again.